Yours, Prabhu. As always, 10 to 15 minutes for pertinent questions and loving exchanges. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Madhuri Devi, Mataji. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतिरवनचारि यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतिरवनचारि जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री हरि नाम प्रभु की जय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीरुत्तमः श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Happy Sunday, everybody. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, the General History, Chapter 8, and the story of Pingala. So let me share my screen. The story of Pingala, verse 20. A very interesting verse. Indriyani jayantyashu nirahara manishinaha varjayitva tu rasanam tannirannasya varthate. What the word meaning? Indriyani, the material senses, jayanti, they conquer, ashu, quickly. Niraharaha, those who restrain the senses from their objects. Manishinaha, the learned. Varjayitva, except for tu, however. Rasanam, the tongue. Tat, its desire. Nirannasya, for one who is fasting. Varthate, increases. Translation. By fasting, learned men quickly bring all of the senses except the tongue under control. Because by abstaining from eating, such men are afflicted with an increased desire to gratify the sense of taste. Purport. By the disciples of Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai. In South America, there is a saying that when the belly is full, the heart is content. Thus, one who is eating sumptuously is jolly, and if one is deprived of proper food, one's appetite becomes even more voracious. An intelligent person, however, does not fall under the control of the tongue, but rather tries to make progress in Krishna consciousness. By accepting the remnants of food offered to Lord Prasadam, one gradually purifies the heart and automatically becomes simple and austere. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur states that the business of the tongue is to gratify itself with varieties of flavor, but by wandering in the 12 holy forests of Brajamandal, Vrindavan, one can be freed from the 12 flavors of material sense gratification. The five principal divisions of material relationship are neutral admiration, servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. And the seven subordinate features of material relationship are material humor, astonishment, chivalry, compassion, anger, dread, and ghastliness. Originally, these 12 rasas or flavors of relationships are exchanged between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity in spiritual world. And by wandering in the 12 forests of Vrindavan, one can re-spiritualize the 12 flavors of personal existence. Thus, one will become a liberated soul, free from all material desires. If one artificially tries to give up sense gratification, especially that of tongue, the attempt will be a failure, and in fact, one's desire for sense gratification will increase as a result of artificial deprivation. Only by experiencing real spiritual pleasure in relationship with Krishna can one give up material desires. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Seeking the blessings of all the assembled devotees, so that we can discuss something from today's wonderful verse. So we are reading the teachings of the Avadut Brahman, his observations, and then his realizations. Uh, so we are continuing from yesterday's example, like the fish. So the fish, the main trap for the fish is the bait. So the tendency of eating various interesting stuff so leads to the downfall of the fish. So that's like the mm, trap. So here we are continuing, and tomorrow's verse also will continue. So these three verses are about the fish and the sense of the tongue. So um, so um, so here the interesting fact what they're explaining is like in Bhagavatam it is being explained is like, yes, the learned people, manishinaha. So the learned people, so they try to restrain the senses by fasting. uh, Restrain in the sense nirahar, so restrain. um, Restriction is always advised in achieving something higher, so in a controlled environment, everything it's not that everything we do randomly, it's a focused environment. Discipline is always suggested. So like if we want to gain knowledge also, every day, we read Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, in a consistent manner. So then only it will have its effect. So we try to hear regularly Bhagavatam, and then we try to lead a disciplined life so that we can achieve something meaningful. What is the plan for today, we ask, right? So there's a plan. If you don't plan, and then everything is like chaotic, just out of whims we keep on doing, so things will not be in a focused manner. So if you want to achieve something, so there should be some particular plan, some particular discipline, thought process, or else that's what actually differs between it. What is the difference between human and animal? So human beings are more um, advanced in consciousness, so they can plan not just for today, not just for the 1 month or 1 year, but for this lifetime, and then for lifetimes ahead. So coming back, so here, you know mm, people try to restrain their senses. Okay, so that so they can do something constructive, something progressive. And then how to restrain the senses? The first thing is like do fasting. So here it is mentioned. So this fasting is not the fasting what we do regularly in our bhakti yoga. So what we do is called uppavas. And here what is mentioned is nirannasya, means abstaining from food. Niranna, without anna. And nirahara in this context is like restraining the senses. All the senses can be restrained by doing niranna, so restraining from food. So that's the method they are describing here. Although English, it is translated as fasting, but it's not the upavas. So the word upavas means like upavas, we stay close to whom? It stay close to the Lord. So whenever we are doing the fasting in the context of bhakti yoga, so the point is like we also restrain, minimize the activities of eating, so that we can focus more on the holy activities, anything connected to Lord. We can hear more, we can chant more. So that is the entire purpose. And then it is clear, so the goal of doing that upavas is to elevate our consciousness, is not to establish something. The goal is not to restrain senses there. The goal is to establish connection with the Lord, strengthen the connection with the Lord. So, and then we are happy. Even if we have failed in our upavas, in the fasting, we are not that much bothered. Even if on a Nirjala Ekadashi, there is something called once in a year, it happens. Two Ekadashis or three Ekadashis before we had Nirjala Ekadashi. So even if suppose somebody breaks fast and then drinks water, the more important thing is, did we do some endeavor to increase our connection to Lord? So that is the more important thing of a devotee, more important consideration of a devotee. Upavas, how much close we went to the Lord. So that is the point. So but here in general circles we fast. People fast without the conception of bhakti yoga. So people fast just for some benefit, okay, for restraining the senses. And then some people do for just cleansing the body, so 48 hours or intermittent fasting, I'm just on the water, so the body will be naturally cleansed. Okay. And what happens after that? What happens is, again, we go back, so we go back and then we eat, so the point is restriction of the senses, nirahar, restraining the senses. What will be achieved? The senses will be subdued. you know the example is given that in the circus, a person tries to control various animals, like sometimes lion, tiger, the circus man. So he signals and then the lion stops, and then it sits on a stands on a small chair and stool or something like that. How is that happening? Because they won't feed the animal for a long time, and then the animal is really deprived of food, and then becomes weak. And then all of a sudden, the ring master gives small amount of food, and then the animal eats, and then he's very grateful for that particular charity or a noble act by the ringmaster. So that so the animal completely comes under the control. So that is just for a temporary purpose. So that's how the senses also, the senses are like always compared with, at different stages, different things are, they are compared. Like sometimes senses are compared with a snake, vicious snake, so very difficult to be controlled. So but so we try to subdue when we don't give them the feed, so the senses will become subdued. Okay. But what is happening, the proclivity to enjoy the sense objects, so that is not gone anywhere. So that is still there. So and then once the right opportunity comes, they'll again pop up. So so it's not addressed at the root. So this particular fasting, so though other senses are being subdued and tongue is not at all being subdued, uh, but you know it is not helping because it's not addressing the root. So so it is said, um, स्यात् कृष्णनामचरितादिसुकीर्तिनान् पित्तोपतप्तरसनस्य न रोचक किन्तु आदरात् अनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टं स्वाद्वीक्रमात् भवति तद्गतमूलहन्त्री. So this book, Nectar of Instruction, given by Srila Rupa Goswami, it's so helpful for every practicing sadhaka. It's only 11 verses, but most of the things we can relate to it. So in this particular verse, at least we can relate three verses, of Nectar of Instruction to this particular Bhagavatam verse. So what he is telling is like Kintu adarat anudinam kalusaiva jushtam. Okay. So what we have to do is the spiritual practices we should do adarat. We should do favorably. It's not that forcefully. Okay, somebody is asking me to do, I will do. That is also good. If somebody is asking us to do, I will do. That's good, but it's not that for some to show off to somebody, like I get some praise, so that's why I give monthly once class. No, it's not that. We should do it for ourselves so that we can read Bhagavatam, we can go deep into Bhagavatam. So that's why we have to do, do hearing and then sharing our realizations. So Kintu adarat anudinam khalu saiva jushtam. Every day we have to do, so regularly. What happens? Swadvi kramat. So gradually it happens. What happens? Bhavati tadgata moola hantri. So things will be cured from the root. So here, the thing is, by restraining the senses, we the senses become subdued and weak. But at the same time, you know when we keep practicing the spiritual, we keep doing the spiritual practices, so these things get addressed to the root. So the desire, the tendencies, they get purified, moolahantri, at the root. And then it becomes better, and then automatically senses will be controlled. So here, in this particular Bhagavatam verse, what they are referring is it's a superficial control. So that's why senses are subdued, but the tongue is still voracious. Okay, you stop the input, but the tendency to enjoy, eat, wonderful, nice objects, that is still very, very strong. And then it's just a matter of time; it will bounce back. So there are several examples in Bhagavatam on both sides. How people try to do artificial renunciation without any higher principle, and then they failed. And then how devotees did that, and then they were much more successful. And then it's a cakewalk. So we take the example of Saubari Rishi. So he's like a very determined monk, and then he wanted to stay away from the opposite gender, the attraction of opposite gender. And then so for that, he felt that if he stays in this regular world, so he will be get attracted, and then he will be allured. So he went deep inside the water, so that there will be no question of the opposite gender, so that he will be peaceful in his meditation. And he entered into a lake, and then he was doing his penances. He's a great mystic, so he could survive there. And then he was thousands of years he was meditating. But what happened when he opened his eyes, for just fraction of time, and then inside the lake he saw two fishes mating. And then he was so much overpowered by that scene. He came out of the, you know he came out of the his meditation, he came out of the lake. And then he wanted to get married, so he wanted to enjoy the pleasure of opposite gender. So that's what happened. And then he came out, and then he went to the nearest king, and then he said, I want to marry, give me your daughter. Of course the king was afraid, because he's a great mystic. He can't say no. If he says no, he will be cursed. But he can't say yes because he doesn't have anything. So he's just like a very ugly person. I mean, ugly looking, and then he's a mendicant. And then so king gently said, I have 50 daughters. Whom you will marry, it's up to you. I don't know. Let the daughters decide. And then the sadhu understood that, Saubhari Rishi understood that he's not good looking. So he immediately, because of his mystic power, he changed his body. He got a very attractive looking form. And then he created wonderful palace and then everything from his mystic power. And then all the 50 daughters, they said, okay, we want to marry him. And then they were enjoying for a lot of time. And then after some thousands of years, he understood, oh, what happened to my japa? What happened to my sadhana? And then he started again going back. And then he started his spiritual practices. And then all the girls were chasing him, all the wives were chasing him. So this is the point. What happens is, like, if we artificially just try to restrain our senses without any higher purpose, so then it we always fall back. It's said aruhya krichena parampadanta. So we go up, but again we fall down. And the reason is anadrita yushmadangrayaha. So we didn't latch upon to anything higher. What is that higher thing? Yushmadangrayaha, the lotus feet of the Lord, your lotus feet. So the devotee is praying, so we could not latch upon to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's why we again fall down from the higher. So this is the example of Saubhari Rishi. And then if we take people do austerities, Hiranyakashipu was doing austerity. He controlled his food. He complete stopped the intake of the food and then everything. Yes, the senses were subdued. But what was the result of his austerity? He was terrorizing the entire universe. Brahma had to come forcefully. Okay, so because there's a lot of heat being released from his body, so Brahma had to come, and then he had to stop Hiranyakashipu's austerity, and then he gave him the blessings. But after that blessings, what Hiranyakashipu did, he did much more chaos. So this is the result of Hiranyakashipu's austerity, like controlling his food and then controlling his senses. So, but ultimately it resulted in chaos. So this is the austerity, asuric, the demonic austerity. Now let us come to the austerity of passion. Dhruva Maharaj. So he is a great devotee of the Lord. Of course, there's a phase. He took instruction of his mother and then he also did his austerity. But his austerity is only for one desire, that he had to get a greater kingdom, than his great grandfather or something like that. So he was also doing penance. He was also controlling his food, controlling his senses, not eating anything. Such severe austerity, I think only 6 or 9 months he did, not thousands of years. So intense austerity that entire universe was choking up. This is what happens, when people control, not just their own uh, internal panchavayus, the five vayus, but also they control the entire universe. One who is really performing the tapasya. So Dhruv Maharaj tapasya was also creating a lot of disturbance in the entire universe. And then, but his tapasya was directed towards Lord Vishnu, and then Vishnu came. So this is the difference between Hiranyakashipu's austerity, whatever fasting and then everything, and then Dhruv Maharaj's fasting. So Dhruv Maharaj was like, of course, he was also troubling the entire universe in one way, but once he saw Lord Vishnu, all his material desires got purified. You know, so he was telling, Swamin Kritarthosi Varam Nayache. You know, Kachartham Vismrutam Ratnam. So I was running after broken pieces of glass, but now I got a jewel like you. I'm satisfied, Kritarthosi. I have achieved my goal. I don't need any further boon. So this is what happens, when we see the Lord, when we are connection with the Lord. So then the desires get cured at the root, and the desires change. So That's what happened with Dhruv Maharaj. So he was like purified, and then he said, I don't need anything. And once he's purified, Lord understood that he's the right person to handle everything. So he gave everything. Lord gave everything ultimately. But so the thing is, the qualification is the purity of the desires, our intentions. So the intentions get purified. That is the greatness of Bhakti Yoga. So yeah, so that's one point. And then finally, we see another example of the austerity, that is Ambarish Maharaj. So Ambarish Maharaj also performed this fasting, upavas directly. It's not just fasting. So it's upavas. Sorry. But he performed for the benefit of whom? Okay, one is we perform fasting for our increasing bhakti and everything. But Ambarish Maharaj specifically performed this fasting for the benefit of all his kingdom. So and then so he fasted, and then we know, so Durvas Muni comes and then he creates a problem. So and then so Ambarish Maharaj tolerates. Durvas Muni says that, hey, you just wait for me, I'll go take bath and come. So Ambarish waits because he's a guest. First he should be fed, and then Durvas was not coming. He's taking long time, and then Ambarish breaks the fast by taking some water, and then Durvasa gets angry, and then so he sends a demon, in order to harass Ambarish. But Ambarish was like not at all disturbed. He was not running anywhere. He was not even asking for shelter. He was very happy. He just folded his hands and then he just stood still. So that's the greatness. So his senses are already conquered, Ambarish Maharaj. So that is the result of the highest level of fasting. So his senses are completely conquered. He's not at all in an anxiety. I have to take more food. So that's not the point. He's like supremely blissful. And then so everything is taken care. So the demon that tried to attack Ambarish was killed by the Sudarshan Chakra. So the disc Sudarshan Chakra came, and then it killed, and then it started chasing Durvasa, and Durvasa went so many places, and ultimately came and he took shelter of Ambarish Maharaj, so that his life could be spared. So this is the different ways of restraining the senses. So Birmani did that, Hiranyakashipu also did that, Dhruv Maharaj did that, and Ambarish Maharaj did that. So we can understand, so the various gradations, and then see, how, what is the most effective way, and the long term consequences. And then here, the austerity, just an extension to Ambarish Maharaj. What happened is like, Ambarish Maharaj, like he's a king, and then that time, there were many queens. So the newest queen, so she's a very very devoted lady. Ambarish Maharaj is very particular in his worship, uh, in his daily puja, daily spiritual activities. So he was doing everything very meticulously. And then after this new queen entered, so he was going to his worship place of worship, and then everything is already done, everything is already arranged. So Amrish Maharaj saw 2 3 days, and then he felt that, oh, what is happening? This is my seva. Somebody else is doing this. So he got literally, frustrated. And then he asked the guards, and then guard said, the newest queen, she is doing everything. Amrish Maharaj became very serious. He went to the queen and he said, hey, you are a newcomer, you don't know. This is all my service. You please don't interrupt my service. And then he was doing his service, and then he barred the newest queen to do everything. And then Lord reciprocated with Ambarish Maharaj. Lord said that, why are you doing like this? Just like I'm appreciating your service, I'm also appreciating her service. She is also a very great devotee of mine. And then, I like her service. You should not stop, her service to me. So then Ambarish Maharaj realized. So it's like coming together and doing service. So this is like, so even, so the greatest devotees like Ambarish Maharaj, who restrained his senses. So, so the point is, you know, A very nice point, so let me share my screen. This is a wonderful verse we can always meditate from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyamuchyate प्रापञ्चिकतया बुद्ध्या हरिसम्बन्धिवस्तुना मुमुक्षुभिः परित्यागो वैराग्यं फल्गु कथ्यते. So this is what we need to meditate. The meaning is like this: when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. Anasaktasya Vishya Yatarham, use everything in connection to Krishna. Yatarham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without the knowledge of relationship to Krishna, Prapanchakataya Buddhya, thinking that this is not at all connected to Krishna, they reject. You know, so it's not a complete renunciation. It's called Falgu Vairagya. Vairagyam Falgu Katyate. So here, Ambarish Maharaj was thinking, oh, my wife is, like Maya, I should, keep her some distance. So, but Lord didn't appreciate that. Lord said, oh, come on, your wife is my devotee. So that's what everything is connected to Krishna. So it's not that we give up everything, but we try to engage everything in service of Krishna. So that's what Ambrish Maharaj also encouraged later, his new queen to render service to Krishna. That's what, when we see everything in connection to Krishna, so so things will become easy. That's how a devotee thinks. Even food also. So yukta hara viharasya, it's what bhakti yogis we often do is like, so we take food but yukta hara, in a controlled fashion. We just accept what is favorable, so that ultimately we rise above the cravings, and then we just cook for the pleasure of the Lord, and then we accept whatever is remaining. So the Goswamis, personally, they were taking very, very less, but they were offering Krishna opulent feast, big temple, and then everything. So that's how. For ourselves, we take very minimum, but for the Lord, we give the maximum possible. So these are some things, and of course, tomorrow's verse is also very interesting. I don't want to go into that more about the tongue. So, but yeah. So just to conclude, summarize today's discussion. So we started looking at the verse, what is restraint, nirahara, senses, we restrain the senses, and niranna, so fasting. So we saw what is the difference between the fasting in this context of this verse, and then the fasting of what we do in bhakti yoga, so that is the upavas. So ultimately the idea is to go close to Krishna, develop our connection with Krishna, strengthen our connection with the Lord, than just artificially stopping the food for some time and subduing the senses. So it's just a matter of time. Again, the senses will become strong unless we engage the senses in a proper channel, in a proper direction. So we saw the austerities of various great people: Saubari Rishi, Hiranyakashipu, Dhruv Maharaj, and then ultimately Ambarish Maharaj. So how we can actually perform the austerity for the greater good. And then we saw also Amrish Maharaj, how engaging his wife in the service of the Lord, that is more important. So that is the actual renunciation, yukta vairagya, than just thinking everything is material and rejecting. Yeah. So these are some of the thoughts we have. We still have 10 minutes, so if somebody wants to share.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Krishna Daya, Prabhu. Very, very satisfying class, very logically complete. I felt like it came in a whole circle. So many wonderful Shastric references. We're really, as I said at the beginning, so grateful to have a pundit like yourself in our midst. It's over to you, dear audience, now. I see Jamuna Jaya has her hand raised. Jamuna Jaya.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Daya Prabhu. Always such a wonderful class. Like, it's always so like spot on. But I really love that last point about Amarish Maharaj. So wonderful. And also what I'm hearing there is like, to be careful not to think that this is my service and that's not your service. You know, he had a little bit of that, which, you know, it's sort of nice because he's so exemplary. I kind of think of like, oh, he had a little bit of a tinge of that. But that's something always to remember, because sometimes, you know, people see, oh, that's my service. You should be doing my service. But the beautiful thing about Christian consciousness is there's enough service for everyone. And Krishna wants everyone. And that's like, that's really what he wants, to like for all of us to engage each other in service, because that's what most pleasing to Krishna. So thank you for that extra little bit at the end. I really appreciated that. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes, it's there for everyone. Lord expands. So there are unlimited services. Yeah, and then Lord is more happy when we come together and then serve than individual service. Yeah,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Nice to hear you. I like the point that you brought up, the difference between just doing the austerities, even though they look the same, there's different paths. They're like doing austerities for the sake of austerities, or doing the austerities for the Lord. That one could do austerities, and then it could come out in a different way. The examples you gave, like how the person terrorized the whole planet, opposed to just for the Lord. If you do it for the Lord, then it still comes out for the best, because you can. It's like a safeguard on the bus, like bus sometimes have a governor they put so they don't go too fast. It's like a safeguard. So if you do it for the Lord, then you're always in the perfect spot. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your reflection. Yashoda Dulal Prabhu was giving this class 1 month ago, I guess. So he was sharing this. So, what is the purpose of brakes in the car? What is the purpose of the brakes? So he said, the purpose of the brakes is to go fast. So we can go fast only when we know that we can control the speed. Or else, if we are afraid, oh, we can't control the speed, so then we'll go very slow. So the brakes, so we have the brakes, so that so these all regulations are helping us to go progress fast in our spiritual practices. So yeah.
And also, what's the end goal? Like, if you just do it for the sake of austerity,
Yeah.
you're gonna get some physical material, but there's no spiritual.
Yeah, it will increase our ego. Like many people, we do fasting and say, I did 48 hours fasting. So it satisfies our, I restrain my senses. I don't look at women, or I don't look at the opposite gender. you know I don't touch money. Srila Prabhupada was this famous example. One devotee came to and said, Swamiji, see, Prabhupada, see, this is a news clipping. This monk, he never touches Lakshmi, he never touches money. you know and Prabhupada said, give me a big stash of money. So he was like, take a photo, I'm just holding this cash. So I need Lakshmi, this is for the service of Lord. It's not that. Yeah.
Prabhu,
Yes, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Just on the subject matter, so that we don't forget, isn't the ultimate break remembrance of death? So we can go fast, we can live our lives, but if we remember memento mori is the Latin. Always remember death. So yes, remember Krishna, but obviously, all of us, at least for myself, I can speak only for myself, have a natural inclination to not want to remember Krishna. It's an automatic giving way of my own will, my own desires, my own independence. It's down there. It's deep. It's in the marrow. That's why I guess we're here. At least why I'm here. But remembering death, and Krishna comes in that form. That's the ultimate break. So we can almost, I mean, look at the action that's in the Gita. Look at the action that's in the Bhagavatam. It's always action. It's not people sitting around in temples fasting. It's people going to, it's devotees going to war, or devotees taking the abuse of great demons and Krishna coming to save them. So, would one say that memento mori is the ultimate form of fasting, that we remember that every day in everything that we do, we're going to die. There's going to come a point in time when we're going to have a dance with the Grim Reaper, and we have to be ready to dance very beautifully, of course, for Krishna at that time. So would that be also a form of not having any hope in this world, of understanding the farce of this world? Is that also a form of fasting?
Actually, yes, bro. I mean, like, thank you for bringing up that point. It's like said, as sure as death, so death is the most certain thing. And then one thing is, we don't know when it is going to come. So that is the one very wonderful thing about death, is we don't know when it is going. Maybe the next moment, so we can have an earthquake or an attack or something. So that helps us, actually that helps us speed up our practices. What if we are going to die the next minute? So let us be 100% Krishna consciousness now, in this moment. Let us, if we are chanting Hare Krishna, better chant it now, so that we may die the next moment. So, I mean, so that will help us remember Krishna 100%, so if we are doing it. So, I mean, I see that for myself, so we can accelerate. And then, yeah, fasting, basically it's an austerity. It's an austerity at this point, condition stage. It's an austerity to remember Krishna. But yeah, we can do that austerity. So it will help us. I'm not sure if it helps, but yeah, this is just my thought. Yeah.
Thank
Maybe
you, Krishna Daya.
Sadhvi.
Sadhvi has her hand up.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for today.
Idiot.
Is it okay to fast just because you have learned from the Shastra that one should fast certain day? You just fast because it says in the Shastra. You don't fully understand it, but you do it because it says. Is it okay that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the wonderful question. And actually, that is the prescription. We don't know most of the things. We don't know the Lord completely. Lord is so much eternal. How can we understand? We know only little bit, but it will help. Like just the medicine. We don't know if we swallow a pill, where it is going. It is reacting in my tongue, I mean in the neck, it's going to the stomach, or it's going to my hand. If I have a pain in the finger, I take a pill, how it is reacting, how it is going, what are the next steps. We don't know all that, but we know, we have faith in the doctor. Okay, take this pill, this medicine will be cured. We have faith in our guru, we have faith in bhakti yoga, so it will help. Yeah, that's like that.
Right, darshan time, dear devotees. Please turn on your cameras. It's time to be seen by the Lord.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Krishna Daya Prabhu ki jai. Oh, Shri Prahlad.
Super Hare Sehvat.
Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Good morning, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Welcome to the Afterglow, everyone. Krishna Daya, are you able to stay with us a few minutes, or do you need to go? Oops. Am I talking on mute now? Did Krishna Daya leave? Looks like he is gone. Okay. Does anyone have any comments or reflections on today's class that they would like to share? Maybe about their own experience with fasting or with restraining one's senses for higher purposes, or yukta vairagya in general, or anything else spiritual on your minds this morning? Pink Yogi of Harlem, Shani, Yogeshwari. Sati, good morning. Welcome to our Sangha here.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Oh, who's that, please?
Oh, it's Sati. I was just saying Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, good morning. Adi Prush Prabhu, is there something you would like to add?
Bhima has his hand up.
Oh, okay. Adi and then Bhima.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we're praying to Srila Prabhupada to let us know what he wants us to share, not what I think, what I want to say. It's already been a lot of dancing around the subject, not just refraining from activity, but taking up a higher engagement, prasadam instead of something that's not prasadam, devotional service instead of frivolous or degrading activity. And then Nehru said it very nicely that doing something is okay, but remember we're doing it as an offering to Krishna. And there's levels of offering. Some people do whatever they want and offer to Krishna, which is nice. And then the next level is actually doing what the spiritual master asks us to do. And a person who thinks he's on the highest platform and just does it, thinks, I know what to do, I don't have to wait for the spiritual master. That's not exactly recommended. Better to work with the guru and then offer it and say, does this please you? Maybe there's a modification. Or maybe what we're doing is, even though we're thinking it's might be something Krishna like, maybe Krishna will like it, or Guru will tell us. So we're not just doing service, but we're serving someone. Who are we doing this for, right? Okay, I'm talking too much. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada.
No, very useful. Thank you. There's always an end to our actions. There's a for someone, whether that's our fellow devotees or our guru or Krishna. It's never our own whimsical actions, ideally. Bhima Prabhu, did you have something you would like to add to the conversation this morning?
I will take play the devil's advocate here, but it's not the devil's advocate. It's the advocacy of wherever you're at. That's where Guru comes to, and that's what we're learning in this 11th in this chapter. That there are many gurus everywhere, and it, of course, you know, when you're just sort of opening your eyes, you can be deceived, as we can see, you know, in this world. There are many deceptive gurus, so to speak. But here we have our examples that, you know, to be a devotee requires, is it 26 or 24 qualities of a devotee? Yes? Okay. And
Yes.
when we read these things, ultimately, this is what our guru wants from us. He can give us specific missions. You know, when I had a guru, I have a guru, but you know, there were missions to be undertaken, austerity to undertake, and you know, but and thus it was done. But ultimately, the guru wants you to develop yourself into a full-fledged devotee, not just to, you know, complete a mission superficially. So many wonderful souls did a lot of service back in the day. Now they're gone. That doesn't mean they won't pick up where they left off. But ultimately, one of the reasons why they're gone is because they lost touch as to what the true mission is. That is that the Guru, Prabhupada, and Krishna will always want you to become as unto a devotee. Not I'm a devotee because I got a tilaks on and a dhoti, or because I follow the four regulative principles, or I fast on, you know, fast day. These are all external. They're all external. Ultimately, we actually have to let Krishna change us within. We cannot give Krishna anything, but as we learn by fasting, we give by giving up things, and we give them up so that we understand what we truly have. And you know, so we understand that ultimately, what the guru wants at all times is, as Prabhupada said, when somebody asked him, a devotee asked him, what would please you most, Prabhupada? And everybody leaned forward thinking, oh, big book distribution, or temple building, or more Paka deity worship, right? Everybody who's had a particular service would lean forward during this darshan to see what would please Prabhupada the most. And Prabhupada said, if you love Krishna, if you love Krishna. So we must not lose sight for all our actions. It is bhakti yoga. It is an actionable worship. But we have to always remember why we're doing it, and why we are fasting, not simply because we're being told to do so, or because it's good for us, or because it's scriptural and it will spiritually benefit me. It's because it's Krishna saying, you know, you gotta remember me. And if you're not thinking so much about filling your belly, maybe you'll spend a little bit more time thinking about me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bhima.
Bhima Prabhu, how can I love Krishna if I can die any moment?
Die every moment. Just keep dying, man.
Just think of yourself and Anand
If
Bihari
you
as
don't,
that lion, you know,
Keep dying.
that lion that's being trained.
always assume that you're in a foxhole. Memento mori, Prabhu. You're heading there. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready to dance. It can happen anytime. It doesn't matter whether you're married or you have children or you're getting out there. And, even the body's warning you, just memento mori. If you always remember that, that at any moment you will wake up and on the other side. If you can remember that, then you always remember somebody's waiting for you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj once said to Ganesham Prabhu, death is the highest form of realization for a materialist. That's the highest realization a materialist can attain, that we're all mortal. We're all going to have to check out, vacate the room, return the keys, and move on.
Yep.
But
That's
then,
me, a materialist. This is my highest realization.
Yeah, and then he says, but for a spiritualist, that's the beginning, that's the very beginning level of realization. That's where spirituality begins, when you understand that it's all temporary, and then of course then you move on to the more advanced stages where you realize that you're here to serve Krishna and serve the devotees and study Shastra and all that, and take prasadam and fast from prasadam. Jai. Just was tempted to say that, Vinamadura. I hope it was pleasing and satisfying to the community.
It was very, and it's also a pleasure to see you. Okay, does anybody else have anything they would like to add to the yagya this morning?
Ananda Bihari, can you show us any pictures of the beautiful place where you are camping out?
Actually, where are you?
No.
Where are you?
Come on,
I
dude.
am
Show us the ocean.
Cape Cod.
Show us your sense gratification.
Cape Cod. I have a little bamboo grove back there.
Oh,
A
nice.
hammock. I think of death all the time. In the hammock, in the grove, everywhere. I think of death on the beach. It could be.
Very good. That sounds like a
I
proper
know.
vacation.
I know too much.
Okay.
I can't think of it.
Yeah. Let's see. Karen, are you here with Isaiah and Annabelle? I know that the other half of the junior chanters are away this morning. Do we have Isaiah and Annabelle? Or Karen, you might have to fill in.
Hey, put down your weapons.
What? Stop.
Is it? Are we muted? Okay, go. Can you go 1, 2, 3?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Adi bow, very nice. Is that a bow and arrow, Isaiah? Ah, don't shoot the messenger.
Homemade
practicing?
from the forest.
Are you training to be like Arjuna?
Or Ram.
Very nice. Or Ram. Yeah, and I think Lisa and Sattvi Devi Dasi, next time we're going to take you off mute because you are definitely both appearing young at heart and wanting to join the junior chanters. So we might ask you to come off mute one of these days and join in because you're so into it. We love it. Haribol. Okay, everyone. Let's see. I think no one else has their hands up, so we are going to call it a wrap. Happy Sunday. Come again tomorrow. The Srimad Bhagavatam never ends, and we love you, and we need you, and happy death thoughts on your vacation, Ananda Bihari Prabhu. Give them to Krishna. Haribol. Jai.